Welcome, new recruits. I am so glad you're here for today's explainer because, well, we're stepping out of the standard classroom and heading straight into the field. Today, we're going deep undercover to solve a very specific kind of mystery. We are tracking down the past tense. So, grab your magnifying glasses because grammar isn't just some boring set of rules in a dusty book, it's a code, and it is waiting to be cracked.
So I've got to ask you directly, do you have what it takes to be a past tense detective? We're going to need sharp eyes, quick thinking, and a seriously solid memory to get through today's case files. We'll be digging into historical evidence, cross-referencing clues, and figuring out exactly what happened, and honestly, more importantly, whether to report it using was or were.
Our investigation today is taking us way back in time. We're looking at life exactly 100 years ago. I mean, just imagine, dirt roads, ox-drawn carts, the old-school architecture. It feels like a completely different world, right? To solve our upcoming cases about sports and daily life from a century ago, we need the right tools to describe this world. We can't use words like is or are because obviously this isn't happening right now. We absolutely need the language of the past.
And that brings us to your official mission briefing. Your objective today is crystal clear. Identify and use the past tense verbs was, were, there was, and there were. You're going to do this by completing historical timelines and detective logs. And notice the precision we need here. We're using a special tricolor coding system in our case files to keep all our evidence strictly organized. Red is for singular, blue is for plural.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our first piece of foundational intelligence, Archive Rulebook 1. When we're describing the past and stating that something actually existed, we use there was or there were. Think about the red text. For a singular noun, meaning just one single thing, we use there was, or the negative, there wasn't, which is usually followed by a or an. Now switch gears to the blue text. For plural nouns, meaning many things, we use there were or there weren't, usually followed by words like some, any, or a lot of. Let's distill that down to its absolute simplest form so you can really lock it into your detective memory. Singular means one suspect, one clue, one ox cart. Use was or wasn't. Plural means many suspects, lots of clues, multiple ox carts. Use were or weren't. Seriously, if you can remember that simple split, you have already cracked half the code. And this brilliantly illustrates our second fundamental rule, Archive Rulebook 2, the past tense of the verb to be. It's all about matching the right pronoun with the right verb. If the subject is I, he, she, or it, they team up with the red was or wasn't. But if the subject acts as a plural, like you, we, or they partner with the blue were or weren't. Definitely keep this rulebook handy in your mind. You're going to need it literally right now. All right, detectives, it's time for your first field assignment. We're opening case file 1, the first marathon. We are traveling back 2,500 years to ancient Greece. But we've got a bit of a problem here. The archive text has missing evidence. The blanks are staring right at us, and it is entirely up to you to fill them in using the affirmative and negative forms we just talked about. Let's pause right here and look at clue number 1. The phrase is a war between Greece and Persia. I want you to really think about this. Is a war singular or plural? Are we talking about one event or many? Based on your rulebook, what is the exact phrase that goes into that first blank? Take a second and lock in your guess. Now, what's really cool here is how the color coding instantly reveals the grammar logic. Here is the decoded file. There was a war, because it's singular. There were a lot of battles, because battles is plural. Just look at that blue ink. Down at numbers 4 and 5, we've got the negative forms. There wasn't any internet, and there weren't any telephones. You can see exactly how the rules from our archive perfectly reconstruct this missing historical record. Excellent work! Let's see how this builds into our next challenge. Case file 2 requires us to be super observant. We are comparing then versus now. On the one hand, we have old horses, wooden carts, older buildings, really slow transport. On the other hand, we've got a sleek, modern, incredibly fast train winding through a metropolis. Our job as detectives is to spot the differences and apply the past tense to describe exactly how things used to be. Okay, I'm going to fire off 4 quick clues about the past, and I want you to mentally drop the correct verb in. Ready? Number 1, things, different. Number 2, sports stars, richer. Number 3, transport, slower. And number 4, people taller. Remember to look at whether the subject is singular or plural. Do you have your answers locked in?
Let's verify the file. Did you say things were different? That's a plural. Sports stars weren't richer in the past. Again, plural, but this time negative. Transport was slower, because transport is treated as a singular concept here, and people weren't taller. People is a plural noun, so it gets the blue weren't. If you hit the nail on the head with those, your detective instincts are really sharpening up.
Let's jump to a totally new decade. We're looking at the detective log for the 1960 football match. This time, we only have visual evidence to work with. Look closely at the pin board. We've got a packed stadium, some classic double-decker buses, and an empty train station. The green check marks mean the items actually existed at the event, and the red X means they definitely didn't. Your task is to write out exactly what was and wasn't there based solely on these images.
And here are the official findings. From the first photo, there were a lot of spectators at the match. Plural, affirmative. From the second photo, there were a lot of buses with fans. Again, plural, affirmative. But look at the train station with the red X. There wasn't a train station. Singular, negative. By carefully analyzing those visual clues and applying our grammar rules, we have perfectly documented a 1960s event. Great job!
Of course, no detective agency is complete without a suspect tracker. We need to figure out where everyone was last Saturday. We have 4 subjects here: Patrick, Mohammed, Arthur, and Katie. The log gives us clues in parentheses. Patrick has a check mark next to the library. Mohammed and Arthur have an X for the sports center. But wait, look, they've got a check mark for the park. And Katie was at a football match. How on earth do we turn these raw notes into grammatically perfect past tense reports?
So, the absolutely crucial point is right here in the middle of our solved tracker. Patrick was at the library, singular subject. Katie was at a football match, singular subject. But look at subject line number 2, Mohammed and Arthur. That is 2 people, making the subject plural. So we write, Mohammed and Arthur weren't at the sports center. They were in the park. Catching that shift from singular names to a combined plural subject is exactly what separates a rookie from a master detective.
All right, you have passed all the preliminary files. It is officially time for the final boss mission. This is a high-stakes stadium memory test. I'm going to give you just a moment to study this evidence. You have 30 seconds on the digital clock to memorize this scene. Look closely at the fans in the stands. Look at the colors they're wearing. Look at the banners. Look at the pitch. And count the objects and people. Burn this image into your mind.
Time is up. The image is gone. Now, let's see how sharp your memory and your grammar really is. Answer these 3 questions using the proper past tense structure. Question 1. Were there any red banners? Question 2. Was there a dog on the pitch? Question 3. How many players were there? Think back to the image. Formulate your answers.
Let's check the master notebook. Number 1, were there any red banners? Yes, there were. Number 2, was there a dog on the pitch? No, there wasn't. And number 3, how many players were there? There were 22 players. If you nailed that memory check and used your blue and red grammar rules correctly, then I am incredibly proud to stamp this file. Mission accomplished. The case is closed. You came into this agency as a rookie recruit, and you are leaving as a fully certified past tense detective. You now know exactly how to use was, were, there was, and there were to perfectly describe the past, whether you're talking about ancient Greek battles or 1960s football matches. But the investigation doesn't stop here, does it? Grammar is everywhere, waiting to be decoded. So I'll leave you with this. Now that you have mastered the past tense, what mysteries around you will you investigate next? Keep your eyes open, keep analyzing the world, and I will see you on the next explainer.